And then the council board regular meeting Tuesday, April 8th, 2025, come forth. That's it, we have public prayer.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We pray you bless our time, our fellowship. Pray that you give us great spirit of unity, Father, as we take care of the school business for the month. Father, we pray, Lord, for protection for our students, staff, our parents, Father, be with our families. Pray, Lord, as we close the school year, that you give us everything that we need, Father, to close it out strong. And thank you, God, for just the great successes of this year. And pray, God, that you help us with all the planning in the summer, getting ready for next year. Love you. Thank you in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Let's move right on item number 2, recognition presentation. I can have any. Moving on to 3, public comment. Ryan Lynn.
I've never had to not wait so long. Good evening. Good morning. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay, great. My name is Ryan Lynn. I'm the Education and Engagement Coordinator for WFSC Public Media. We are the local and PBS, more particularly what I do, PBS Kids, based out of Tallahassee. But y'all are in our service territory. Our broadcast reaches to you. And so I think it's my mission to start doing more of our work out here. And I thought the best way to introduce y'all to what we do is just come and tell you. I won't take too much of your time, but I do have a couple little handouts that I put in paper clips for you so you can hand that down. We basically take PBS Kids content, which, as you hopefully know, is all very educational and based in learning standards. And we turn it into hands-on activities for educators and for families. Our emphasis is really student ages 3 through 8, so pre-K through 3rd is where we do most of our work. A couple things that I handed you that I want to highlight. I gave you our teacher resource magnet, the QR code that leads to our teacher resource guide. That is a pretty in-depth look at all of the things we do, all of the shows, what they're good at teaching. If you need something for science, or if you need something for literacy, whatever you can need at whatever age, that's going to be where you should go. And I can definitely send more if you want some for your educators. I've also given you a little handout of just like high level kind of what we can offer for teachers and school districts. The first thing is really self-paced, self-exploration. PBS Learning Media is an online library of all things PBS, all grades, infants until like college. It really goes through the gamut. And it doesn't just have PBS, it has Smithsonian and NASA and other like national entities. But it's a free online library for teachers or parents to use. We do trainings for educators on that. It is a free resource. We'll know it exists. Hopefully it makes lesson planning easier. The middle option called a bundle menu is kind of like a lesson plan made for educators where we can drop off materials. Again, just trying to help our educators out. Recently, one of the kindergarten classes in Tallahassee reached out to me and said, we want to do something with oceans. And so I made a menu of different things that we can do with oceans. And she was like, great, I want to show that episode, do that activity with this take home and this book. We don't provide books anymore because it's funding, but we can make recommendations for books and we can go pull up the library. And so that is something we offer as well. And then the last option is a family and community learning workshop. We provide dinner at those or lunch at the daytime activity, but that's going to be a great experience for families to be really hands-on. We kind of model learning. So we'll watch that episode and we'll go into some hands-on activities that extend learning. Okay, I'm talking really fast because I want to tell you everything, but the real big thing that's coming up is our annual summer challenge. So every year we print out over 3,000 of these activity books. They really fly, and so I only have like 3 left. So I only brought one, but y'all are welcome to keep it and pass it around. Those are they go to every rising first grader in Leon County schools because they pay for them. But they also go out through our libraries and neighboring county libraries. Last year, I dropped them off at all neighboring county libraries to hand them out for free. Kids can work on those activities really in effort to combat the summer slump. There's various levels of difficulty in those activities. And then at the end of the summer, they can kind of trade in what they've done for prizes for free games and free books. And we'd love to extend that out to Liberty. Maybe not this summer, I know summer's right around the corner, but in the future. And so to kick off our summer challenge, we're having a kids career day. This is the other slide in your little pocket. That is going to be May 17th, free, open for everyone, all of our families. We are going to have truckers and firefighters and the sheriff's office and our own journalist consortium station and lots of things there for kids to kind of explore. Really low level. It's for like 5, 6, 7-year-olds, but would love to have y'all out there or have any of your constituents out there. Just wanted you to know what's happening. Our bigger events do tend to draw crowds from surrounding areas, not just Tallahassee. And so I think that's everything. I included a sticker to the Learning Neighborhood. That is a site that we've built to kind of go with the whole world of work theme. And so that is a website where you can learn about different jobs, or your kids can learn about different jobs in your community. We've been treating it kind of like entry-level civics. You know, what does your neighbor do? What do your parents do? Who fixes your car? And then I left my business card as well. And that was a lot of info. Does anyone have any questions? Can I take questions?
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
How do we currently interact with PBS here, or is
This is
it?
the first one.
Didn't know she was coming, I'm glad you did.
Yeah, that's a
Hey, I'm a veteran of, as a kid, probably most up there, electric company, Sesame Street.
We have an electric.
Yes,
bill,
Roger.
something we don't know what to do with, so we have a place where that can have a home. Yeah, Mr. Rogers, he's right next to my desk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we used to do workshops out in surrounding towns years and years ago when we had different funding to do different projects. My boss has been with WFSU for 18 years, so she would have been the one to do that. But I was like, if you guys get a broadcast, we should be serving you to the ability that we can. So whether that's dropping things off for your teachers and checking in once in a while, or coming and doing programming, I just want to be of service. We have a lot of free educational stuff to offer.
We've always been at Channel 11.
Yeah.
In our area, and I'm dating myself a little bit, but it, usually 6 or 4, which is CBS, and you had 7 and 13, which was at Panama City Channel 11.
Yep.
That was it. Period. That was
Yeah.
it.
I'm pretty sure my granddaughter is still on PBS Kids. Because that's one thing about letters, you get on to it, so.
Yeah, I'll let you know, as if many of you are parents, the games are meant not to be, they're to teach specific skills, and you get bored and move on to the next one, that's why there's so many. So there's a lot of classrooms, teachers will be like, I play games in the classroom, I'm like, I'm sure you do. Very nice.
Thanks for coming and sharing. with us.
Yes, of course. Please reach out to me. I'd love to have y'all. We are gonna have a public servant at Kids Career Day. And so if you wanna come and wear a little sash that says, I'm a public servant, ask me a question, I can make one of those for y'all. And I can also send it in a follow-up, but it's lovely to see your faces.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Move right on down to the vote.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll go ahead. We've got Charlie, from Culpeper here, Burns, appreciate him. Got to meet him in Kyle Rogers on Monday morning, at 8 o'clock, right early. So my first item on here is a football field house update. I'll let him give you the down and dirty. I just wrote in here, left for rough end, as I went back out there to talk to Joel Beach today. He's working. They're almost through with the rough end, but I'll let you, how about you think that you got a better approach than that?
Yes, sir. Like I said, Charlie, we'll go over construction, we're about 95% prepared, got down on electrical. HVAC schedule would be set units this week was timed up. The concrete crew, we met with our concrete division, Culpeper. We're gonna be pouring the majority of all the hardscapes around the building, with the exception of the sidewalk that will be connected from the track to the actual field house itself, because maybe some, track renovations. We have the painters lined up. They're gonna start hopefully by the mid to end next week, painting all the hollow metal doors and frames. And with that, the reason they're not gonna jump in, they're only gonna put one coat on the door, so when you see it, that's not finished product. We're gonna start putting closures on, and then it just kind of saves them from going around the, the hardware. Lumber, all of our lumber for the ceiling, which is 2x4s and plywood, our provider will be dropping that off in the week, start for the, ceiling. And we turned the floor plan over to Mr. Richard Sansom, and he has contacted Firehouse Lock and Key, so that way we can ensure that key is done properly with school. We have submitted the building permit application to the city of Bristol, and it's all approved. We're waiting to see if there's a fee involved in that. And Miller has been out there a couple times on site. He's aware of what's going on. And that's basically all I have for, oh, and another thing, we had found the plumbing, I know there's been a couple people asked me about the water backing up in the building there. And that's because when, I guess, prison labor with plumbing, they stubbed it out of the building and taped it off. So all the water that was flowing inside the building there, the drains were capped off. And our plumbers are aware of it. We're supposed to dig down, find that sanitary line, and we'll get it hooked up. So then all the water will drain out. So, that's basically all I have on the update. Another thing, I don't know if you guys can help us with this, but our dumpster out there, we are having some problems. I don't think Culpeper's had any dishwashers and gas grills. But, if y'all could just help us, we're killing Mr. Chuck on getting that done and all that. So, it's supposed to be for construction free on, if we could. And,
Here it goes.
Charlie, I have to pull that stuff out, basically, what's happening, you can't necessarily take out construction, agree with that.
we can, it just becomes, you got propane bottle and gas grill, and then, it's a whole nother can of worms. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but if we can cut down, I mean, it's, at the end of the day, it's your guys' money dumping that dumpster over and over again. It's only, it's so big.
I get rid of the metal for you quick.
It's in there. I know there was like TV in there for a little while, but it disappeared.
So if you metal in there, you got it.
Yeah.
So I've heard that the estimated completion date is in July. Is that,
Yes, sir.
is that still what we're looking at?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. That would be awesome.
I promise you, Mr. Roberts, y'all aware it's all hands on deck.
From Culpeper. 100%.
You could have learned already now.
How long ago was the permit?
I'm not sure. I have to get back and maybe talk to Kyle and see.
Is there anything that's, guys foreseeing any issues? Delivery of materials,
With every sub that we have that's in the future on that job, they're ready to go. Once we have that ceiling established, you'll start to see a lot more progress being made out there.
the only thing that I would ask is doing a ribbon cutting, these things. And let's make sure that it's announced. It's done. This has been.
Many years, a decade. They've done a lot. Last 2 weeks, they've done a lot of work. I'll commend and I appreciate y'all getting after it. It's been a lot done. You don't see, you see the.
Yeah, you can't, the public can't see it, you can't see it unless you go inside.
You gotta go
That's
inside.
right. See what all it actually does.
There is. There is.
A lot inside.
Infrastructure work has been tremendous the last 2 years.
Yeah.
All right, jump work, we should have permanent or temp lighting burning by the end of this week. They're supposed to be setting some, all the equipment and stuff, so that'll be another help too, instead of, y'all walk through there, it's pretty dark. So once we get some temp lighting burning, it'll start hitting.
Thank you, Charlie.
All right, softball field house, we still got, and some of this stuff will be a little redundant. Thank you for coming. Yes, ma'am. No, no. I missed. Softball field house, some of this stuff will gave him a little bit of an update on Friday. We still got about 106 left in there. Kevin's still communicating with his contact about the bleachers and it's, yeah, it's just.
He finally texted me back today.
He is interested.
He's still in.
He's wanting to do it.
Well, that's what he said.
No
in the
commitment.
text about 30 minutes ago. So.
It's actually got a commitment to, yes, I can do it for that, and then we can make a
Well,
decision.
that's what he said, he'd give me a price for this, and I told him, I said, we need it. I can tell you, he's scared of what's happening for us. If he gives the price, it's gonna be a 30-day price, I guarantee you, if not less.
Well,
What's up, but I mean, we're ready to go full steam ahead, right?
If we're within budget.
Yeah.
And you have to worry about the season going on. Yeah. And, you know, with tariffs, you know, again, you think, well, does that affects us too, you know? So if you got, you know, you're getting this metal from out of the country and you got a tariff, and, you know, and that was one of the things we discussed earlier was, do you get it before tariffs kick in, and those that kick in, that, you know, can you get it, just hang on to the metal? Obviously, we don't work in softball season. You go ahead and get it and hang on to it.
That'd be definitely what you have to do.
well, he would be willing to do that. Go ahead and buy.
I mean, technically, we could purchase it through the school and save the taxes. We're gonna save the taxes and he purchased it, but we could pay him, go ahead and pay him for the metal and get it on site.
Where he would be sitting on that.
And then that would be, then we just do it later, and you know, you wouldn't have to worry about the profits going there.
A lot of stuff.
But you need.
Yeah. and you know, no, you price first on it.
We gotta get price.
Pretty heavy, so.
Yeah.
I stay on him, but he's got a lot of work, so. So everybody.
So that's where that's at. Number three, I showed y'all, some of y'all's pictures a while ago. Beer Equipment Company, largest John Deere, dealer in the country. They delivered it. This is what I told you about our turf management program that we're going to run through ag. They delivered the mower. Now, it is not a new mower, and I'm gonna tell you what the good thing about it, it's 1 year old, looks brand new, obviously. There's pictures on Facebook, or the high school put something on their Facebook page. I've shared it, and encourage y'all to do the same. But what they do is we lease the mower from them, and then next year, they take that mower from us and bring us another mower, and then they sell that. Okay, so our lease costs us nothing. So we're getting basically a 1 year mower, a 1 year old mower every 1 year old. So we got it today. I went out there and watched Thornton cut on it. And it's just, what a blessing, what a blessing to have something that is probably 96 to 100-inch cut. And it's just phenomenal, So that's there. And so we'll be able to use that. It does, we are getting the wheels sharpened for us, so that gives us 2 more. Just
Is there a contact that we could all have to call and say specifically, thank you?
Yeah.
I think that'd be.
So we've got a recognition, a thing that, equipment provided by Beard Equipment Company, they pay for everything. I mean, that's what they look to do. Again, we are the first school district in America that has a John Deere turf management. So I think, school gives. But yes, we'll do that. We'll send them a letter and some recognition, but we'll recognize them, ball games. I've got some specific, people who kind of have that, so I got, Anyway, he has the golf, man, the turf company. Can't think of his name. Yeah, anyway, he's kind of been our point of contact. I've been in his shop down there in Madison County. So he's written, he come and sprayed football field today, sprayed softball, sprayed all fields, and said they'd be helping us all that. There's a key stipulates that he's kind of helped broker this deal. So he's kind of put us under his wing. So he understands our fiscal situation and want to help. So, and he's got the equipment to do all that stuff. And he's gonna bring it. He come out there with his equipment today, spray all that, whatever chemicals it needed, and let us. So
Yeah, how's like the enrollment in that class and that process? How's that? Has it started? I mean, as far as the development of how a turf management class works?
yeah, they'll start getting the spring schedule pretty soon. And guys are out, figure out who else.
And Tyler's going.
It'll be under ag for the name's not here. It'll be under, the course code numbers fall up under ag. And so depending on the participation, it might be a period, it might be 2 periods, you know. We don't want to decimate our ag program, obviously. We want to play on what's in here than ag, but it'll fall under that purview. So anyway, very excited. It's up under the safety shed out there. If you want to come and go look at it after the meeting. Last week was a little tense. I got a call from Patrick Bell and he said, I got good news and bad news. He said, the bus is in the budget, the track is not. And I said, okay, what does that mean? He said, well, don't fret. He said, they didn't fund any capital projects, for example, special facilities. They didn't fund any of them. Some of these were year 2 and year 3 funded. He said, they have to fund them. So he said, it's a little tense over there right now between governor and legislature. They're butting heads a little bit. And even with some of the leadership. So anyway, by the next afternoon, it was in the budget, and Corey Simon got it put in as an amendment, so Patrick sent me that. I'm real thankful to him, y'all, he is a blessing to us. Jason Chuck is too, but Corey, the magic happens in the Senate, it just does. And I don't take anything away from the House, but it just does. Anyway, Corey's been a blessing. Last week, took volleyball girls over there, and you know, he meets us down there, and he just, you know, just very kind. Him coming over here and seeing what we got, somebody else when we asked, and he's always real appreciative. And him having a son in the CTE program that Lively sure helps because he understands the value of vocational education. He knows what we're trying to do over here. We convinced him that we do what we said we're going to do with the funds that are afforded our way. He knows our need for a bus, and he knows our need for a track. So. Anyway, that's in there. We'll keep trying to push that through, make sure that is not. We started interviewing, people for the principal job at Toller. We had 7 people that were interviewing. We interviewed 3 today, and we're going to do 4 on Thursday. This is very time consuming, and it's a very rigorous task. This is this is our largest school. I've entrusted my district leadership team, everybody with Katie, but and she didn't mind sitting this one out, but with everything she's got going on to pick that leader. And so we hadn't had to pick a principal in a while, so we've been very blessed to not have any changes in our admin. But we want to make sure we get it right once a week. We did 3 today, we'll do 4 tomorrow. We did have 3 candidates from Toller who were presently on staff at Toller, and we interviewed all of them to make sure that the home folks get interviewed. So we did that as part, that's why we have a larger group that we're interviewing. We typically might do top 3, but I'm going to do 7. So anyway, we want somebody to hit the ground running. We need somebody who's going to be the very best for the job. And Lord's willing, hope to make a decision on Friday. So that's my plan, unless something changes. In saying that, number 6, I want to just publicly acknowledge, Assistant Superintendent Jeff Toole for his leadership. He's a humble man, and he's taking the deal, but he's done a phenomenal job in the last 2 weeks of our school. He's been a principal. He knows, he just does a phenomenal job with those kids. This morning I got there about 7:30 because we had interviews starting at 8. We get prepped, and he doesn't see me driving up, and he's high-fiving kids getting out of the cars, and they love Mr. Jeff down there. I appreciate it. I just want to thank him. He's done a phenomenal job in these 2 weeks. And, it was very important. We started testing, in the last couple of weeks. We had writing tests and just having stability. And not having to go through learning who a new, maybe a new leader is right now was not the best thing. He volunteered to look, we got to keep continuity down there, and I appreciate Jeff stepping up. He does that job better, and he's also doing all his responsibilities up here, which is coordinating all of our testing. So he does a lot for us. I'm very thankful for Jeff. I'm thankful for our district staff who's also been supporting him there. When he's driving a bus, we come in and I call myself the night shift. So I try to get there about 1:30, and I'm saying the night shift is right, and then try with me and Jeff kind of coordinate, kind of see what's going on, and then he goes and takes the bus. So I just want to thank him. I know he's probably going to get on me for that, but, I appreciate it.
Mr. Taylor, for these interviews, you said you're gonna try to make it, right? With it being middle of the school year, or during, whoever you decide, they'll be able to start pretty.
Not necessarily. It depends on who we pick. So we've got some, that as we interview, some may say, I need to finish, where I'm at. Some are prepared to give 2 weeks notice of where they are, some of those outside the district. Obviously, some of those, if we pick somebody from inside the district, either way, Jeff's gonna help in that transition because I would think, yeah, talking about that. We wanna keep.
If somebody brand new, they need to know the way they land, and then too, even if somebody that's been there existing, they're gonna want to kind of dig in a little bit, get their, you don't want to throw somebody in there, like, here's the key. Have fun, hey, kids are testing next week,
So you're pretty much prepared to be there to the end of the year.
If we need to, yeah, or at least until after testing, until the kids are testing.
Depending on who we
Yeah,
get.
that too, just all depends.
Right. And so he, again, we want to make sure that whoever goes in that place. Now, here's the good thing about somebody coming in May, and I'm thinking it'll probably be May, but we're almost halfway through April. If we do May, then they get to spend a month with kids before next school year. So it gives them a little, get their feet wet, then they get summer, for help prepare. We'll start staffing with them, letting them, they don't know all these people. So everybody here will really have to help them and staff them. But they don't know the strengths of the staff. So but at least I'll have a month into it as opposed to them coming in in June or July. But anyway, I appreciate it. We're, at number 7, just like I said, we've been meeting with school admin to discuss staffing plans. Due to the decreased FTE coming into the district, after our February survey, we will not be filling some positions, consistent with student numbers. So we're looking at teacher ratios. If the numbers don't merit having those, we're not going to delete those positions, we'll just freeze them. So we'll have to recreate them and go through all the advertising process. But I know Hosford took the biggest hit, from declining enrollment and people leaving. So we feel like we've got some positions over there we can absorb.
So preliminary wise, it appears then that due to attrition, we're gonna be all right with the people we have and the count of the students at schools is what you're telling.
I think so. Yes, I think so. Now, here's the great unknown, is what is always good. You make the staffing plans based on your, Katie's gonna make a budget based on February survey, which is smaller than what it was this time last year. And then we get people in place, but we don't know who's actually all coming. I know you've got an idea that if you have an influx of departure and, or, a bunch come in, you've got those situations. It's like that every year.
Are we seeing, I mean, I know it's open enrollment, seeing the time, the kids out of.
You always have out of county kids.
I know it's that period right now. Are we seeing more? Or any?
So the open enrollment for the open enrollment is for us for now.
Okay.
For Toller kids, won't go to Hosford kids won't go to Toller,
Okay.
those kind of things.
When will we know, like, out of county coming in?
They can. I know it's everybody, but sometimes you won't know until, here's what we're looking at so far. I'll just use Hosford as an example. That's where we feel like We probably won't have, because of attrition, we won't have as many openings, maybe 6, 7, 8. But some of the primary grades will have some. So if we have a kid come in and say, can I get in school? And we have room and they, pass some of the criteria to get in, we'll be close.
Please understand that I talk to people that you go out of district or out of, zone, transportation on the problem, especially if you go from here to hospital, there's not any. So that, that's something that you know, you understand, if you talk to somebody in the street.
The school choice means they can go there, but then if we don't have a bus to run from here to yonder.
Said that in-
It's
Hospital here is not a problem.
Right.
There. Problem.
That's right. All right, where am I at? Number 8, we'll honor our state wrestlers and state weightlifters at our next meeting. We had some state qualifiers and votes, so we'll make sure we get those recognized at our May meeting. Kevin gave us a quote last week on possible free bus purchase. We've done that before. Was it 2012?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, 2012, we did that. I can tell you in 2012, funds were a lot better. We were coming out of the recession of 07, 08, it was better. We were able to do that. It's a kind of a no interest, somewhat,
A
little bit, but it's a good plan, but it does require, you got a monthly pay. I mean, you got something. So, yeah, so we'll look at that. Katie and I have not had a chance to sit down and discuss. I think we got it Wednesday or Thursday of last week. We just Katie and I haven't had time to go over that. So we'll get the crunch those numbers and see if that's good. We need to have a workshop on it, or we could do that. Yes.
So when will we have, say, as the board have the opportunity to see financials, discuss the future budget year, discuss priorities as far as raises and or buses and or whatever projects we have going on, we can kind of go back and forth as a board, make a workshop, I'm assuming like a budget workshop to determine, hey, we would prefer, from what I hear and see, there's not just money flowing in from everywhere. We're gonna have to make some decisions that might be hard to determine one thing over another, right? Or minimizing to get both, right? So what time frame are we looking at having the opportunity? And then, Kevin, how long does this quote stand? Is it like a 30-day quote? Will we go beyond that time?
So the yearly, bus quote just come out from the state of Florida, so that's good for a year.
Okay.
And it's the interest will fluctuate according to time, but that's fine.
Understood. So as far as time frame,
What's in the budget? June?
Budget is in
July.
Approved.
Yeah. So we can have some budget meetings.
Right. For that.
Yeah.
Approved.
Yeah.
okay, so we're talking about like May, June, we'd have some workshops.
Correct.
So,
We could start talking about, we've got some things I've told y'all about non-instructional raises. We'll have some of that at the next meeting. So, as far as, she's not gonna have a budget ready in June, but we can meet on whatever we need to talk about if there's something that specifically we wanna do. But typically the order of that is we give a budget, we can workshop that, and then y'all can tell us this or this.
right. In other words, thank you for saying that. That was my thought. In other words, hey, okay, but we're all in for 5 buses, but that means we're not in for these.
Correct.
Things.
Yeah.
We'll have that conversation. June-ish, then.
Yeah, sure.
Some of it is very busy though. That's when people say, well, you only have one meeting a month. No, not during the summer.
Yeah,
So
we have a bunch.
we get really busy on budget during the summer.
Yeah. And we'll have some meetings, we'll actually have some meetings where we close the fiscal year, usually end of June, usually around June 30th, we'll have a closing meeting to finish that year. Katie may have some last minute budget amendments, some things she needs to shift around, and then we'll open up the new year. So we actually start the new fiscal year, and the budget's not actually technically approved until September. So there may be some significant changes between July and September and to the budget.
We're operating off the last year's numbers, basically.
Correct, yeah, you're always working on previous year numbers, so she knows what to build the budget around. Some of the more specific items of funding, and staffing and all that kind of stuff will be made in the summer.
Understood.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. the Liberty County Sheriff's Office last week. We've identified 6 new candidates for school guardians. Here's, they don't have to have a psychological evaluation just because we've identified them. They still got to see Dr. Bateman. Got Dr. Bateman out of retirement. I don't think I told Laura that. I told him, he said he would be glad to do it. I said, well, I'm glad. Great guy. He's gonna come do he's our former psychologist that did some evaluations for the kids, so he's kind of retired now to do that. He'll come in and do that for us. If they all pass, that'll bring us that date. Those people complete the training. That'll give us 16 school guardians to start the next school year. We did lose one due to a resignation, so the great thing is the initial, like I say, we have 11, one's left because of the move. Those 10 are all coming back. So that's a really wonderful thing. Some districts are losing their guardians because of don't pay to do it, you know, that kind of stuff. Our guardians want to do it. And that just means a lot to me, that they want to protect themselves, the staff around them, and especially more than the kids. They want to be guardians. And so we had some training a couple weeks ago, and boy, how did they got that. I was got to see that. So anyway, it's good stuff. So anyway, your presence is most welcome at our school. I don't probably tell you all that enough. I think it goes without saying, but I want to say it. Please take time to visit our schools as often as you can. It means a lot to the staff to know that you're there. They do love seeing you all. And so they love kind of showing off things. So you go in a class, you won't walk around. I use Mr. Willis and see his principal here tonight. If you say, Mr. Willis, I want to see your Bible class. I want to see your shop class. I want to see your band class. He'd be more than happy to show you that. And so please utilize as much time as you want to come. They want to see you. We love having you. Calendar, no school on Friday, April 18th. That's Good Friday for no school for students. That will be a professional development day for staff. And then tonight after our meeting, like we did last month, we had a workshop to discuss facility. Mr. Chair, that's all I've got. The problem, okay.
I move right on item number 5. Addition correction to the agenda. Need a motion to add addition correction to item 8 through C. Motion. Jody, second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item B, the motion to add emergency item 10A. Have a motion? Motion Singletary, second. Jody, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item 6. Need a motion to approve the agenda of April 8th, 2025. Motion.
Yes, 5, 6.
Nine.
Five C, need a motion to add. Addition 9A through 8. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Stevens, second.
Second.
Ms. Jody. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Motion carries. Next item 6. Need a motion to approve the agenda. April 8th, 2025. Have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Jody, second. Motion Stevens. Any, all in favor say aye. Motion carries. Next item 7. Need a motion to approve March 11th, 2025 regular meeting minutes. Have a motion? Motion. Ms. Singletary, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Kiefer. Any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item B. Need a motion to approve March 11th, 2025 workshop meeting minutes. Have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Singletary, second.
Second.
Ms. Jody, any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item 8, consent item. Item eight, need a motion to approve the following March 2025 financial reports and transactions with addition to correction. Have a motion, motion McCurry, second. Second, Steve, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item B, need a motion to approve the 2025 personnel consent table with addition to corrections. Have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Singletary, second.
Second.
Second, Steve, any discussion?
I do have a question, Mr. Sampson, how are we moving forward with, maintenance? We have any prospects, and things like that?
Tell them to me.
Yeah.
It's not my time.
Yeah.
My
Okay,
message.
that's what I'm saying. So right now, we got 3 o'clock. This, over on, she's already printing out those applications, it closes Thursday at midnight.
Yeah, so we have some pretty good prospects, you think, it's gonna work out? Maybe, I can make comments on that. You don't know if that's-
What do you like, sir?
Prospects.
There's still time for us to come in and we'll get together and do them available.
That's good.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item C, need a motion to approve April 25 updated sub list with addition correction. Have a motion? Motion. Jody, second.
Second.
Second, Steve, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item nine, action item eight, need a motion to approve 2025 to 26 annual varsity bid, the effective 7/1/25 to the 6/30 to 26. Should be an individual board member which can vote. 6/17 2 FTS, please adjust the course accordingly. Have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Stevens, second. Second. Mr. Jody, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item B. Need a motion to approve FDOE project award notification, title workforce development, capitalization incentive grant, cap grant for program period 7/1/24 to the 6/30 to 27. Have a motion? Mr. Jody, second, Steve, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item C. Need a motion to approve panel error educational disorder EAC contract agreement for services support in relation to Scholar products, products effective October 1st, 2024 through August 31st, 2026. Have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Stevens, second. Mr. Jody, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. Next, need a motion to approve 2025 and 2028 district English language learner plan. Have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Singletary, second.
Second.
Ms. Keeper, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item B, need a motion to approve 2024, 2025 5-year work plan. Have a motion? Motion. Mr. Jody, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Singletary, any discussion?
Yeah, I have a question on this. Do we update this 5-year plan every year, or is it once? So every year is a state required document that we have to send in to just update them pertaining to everything that I read in that document. I got you. Do we, so it's basically pertaining to a lot of capital dollars, capital expenditures going into and out of the district. Is that correct? Do we anticipate any, like, for the future year, there in anticipation of like capital dollars that will be coming in, revenues that we do not normally obtain, any grants that are out there right now, we're looking at anything, maybe not, okay.
The only thing you could, Mr. Keeper, you could get is if you get an asset sale tax. That could be some money that would come in that could be for some projects. But obviously, we don't have that in place. I would love to have asset, that's another discussion there. That this summer, if we want to pursue that down the road, but, you know, as subsequent election, I think we almost have to. But anyway, so, yeah, that would be an example of that. The other thing would be is that we wanted to pursue special facilities of any kind of this land. I know one thing we've talked about is possibly lunchroom expansion at work. That would be some money that would be coming in. But that we're not in that process yet. But that'd be an example of some of that.
So it's sales tax or tax dollars as well as grant dollars that are specifically related to capital expenditures, is that correct? Or is it only-
All of the
Improvement.
capital,
local capital. Understood.
You know, y'all get it, pay that for, you know, that's not counting.
No, okay, understood.
Local, really money, anything else is totally different.
Understood.
And that document you're looking at is not binding either. We can go in and do a spot survey, I can spot survey done. If something's not in that 5-year work plan, I can get it done, and we can spend capital money, but I can do a little process, it's not a problem.
So the state just wants to know what dollars we have coming in, how we're using. Understood.
Now, one change, I will tell you this, it's just now getting some traction, is in that 1.5 that you typically, if you have a special facility project like for the high school, you have to give them your 1.5 annual contribution towards that, which is a great trade-off. You give them this money, and you get this much. They're looking now for fiscally, this is part of the rural renaissance, is you fiscally constrained counties don't have to pay that, which would be great for us to be able, we're not gonna build another school project in our lifetime. More likely just because they're not 50 years old.
You got,
They gotta be 50 years old, so, but anyway, that would be a thing that you actually keep. If we did a luxury expansion, you could keep it.
we did qualify, they said, I've already done the work, we qualify for addition at total for lunchroom now, we qualify, but we gotta have that asset sales tax. Cannot give it, you do not have it.
Because that's their way of saying, are you having yourself?
So we qualify by the state, where if we had that half, then we can go to the state for the rest, and we could expand the long-term tolerance.
Well, they, I mean, typically, they always show up, that, yes, they're supposed to give you enough money to do it, that's
Right.
we did qualify, but that's a process, that just don't happen.
They have to come over, they individual need, they got all, there's lots of things. It'll be different, something like that in a school, but, it might even be a little tougher than a school. They come over here and look and say, okay, this school, this repair, this school's in age or whatever, and they come in and do it, but that half cent, that's why we would want to make sure that we definitely want to do that before we come back after that half cent, because that would be part of the selling point for the half cent is we're wanting, not only get that, but we're trying to pursue some other dollars somewhere else.
In the rural renaissance, that adjustment is not just for this year or next year, it would be forever or until someone legislates.
Years,
They're looking at longer term, but now we all know that, I know who the leadership is, that can all change in a year. And, revenues are cool off a little bit, they plateaued, since COVID and, Florida stayed open and when Florida was getting all this tourism and everything, but we were open, it's evened out now. So so we, me and Mr. Taylor, we come and talk today, and they're saying for the next 2 or 3 years, it's going to be a lot tighter. And the last couple of years have been very nice.
Discussion. Thursday, any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item F. Need a motion to approve Office of Education Facility Florida inventory of schoolhouse age certification facilities staff. Have a motion?
Motion.
Mr. Jody, second. Second, Ms. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Right on to item G. Need a motion to approve superintendent and administrator travel expenditure to attend 58th Annual PAC Leadership Conference in Miramar, Florida, July the 16th to the 18th. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion, Mr. Stevens, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Jody, any discussion?
I will add that figure, we'll get some of that back. There's some scholarships that EAC will give us. I don't know how much that's going to be, but that'll reduce that time. And then we go to this every year, but they'll reduce it.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item H. Yeah, item H. Approve, need a motion to approve transportation disposition list.
Motion.
Motion, Ms. Secretary, second. Second. Ms. Jody, any discussion?
Yes, so this is basically, we receive new in, we're getting rid of some of the old planning buses. Is that the idea coming up? Yes, yeah. You pick the best ones we're gonna keep. These are the worst ones we need to get rid of.
You can see the list of the, I don't know, 1 or 2 of them running.
Yeah. So as far as, when we dispose of these items, is this like, what are we doing? What are we gonna do with them? Like, where do they go? How's that handled? What does that look like?
So in the past, we sold them as junk, but I've had a lot of people call me since we parked them over there at the general public sale, want to buy them. So my suggestion is do a sealed bid, maybe open it at the next meeting. Have to talk to Mr. Guthrie and maybe put it on Facebook and website. Sealed bid on exactly what I gave y'all, buy each item and make an appointment to see me, let them look at them. Next meeting, open them. I think we'll make more money. I know we will make a thing to it, but I know somebody won't want to bust it back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'd be happy to definitely sell them and get dollars for them.
I think for the district, there, that's our thing.
Yeah. So what, do we need to do anything here different today to make that?
Well, by y'all allowing us to sell it, then we'll do the sealed bid thing for next meeting.
Do you recommend that the still bids get up and, you know, partner on this one?
Do.
And we'll see if it comes forward.
So open there, then come to the board. Okay.
No problem.
Thank you.
And then y'all can reject or accept.
Okay.
Gotcha.
We only got a second motion. Second, I want to read more of that. Approve the transportation disposition with addition to correction. We only got a second vote on. Any all in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, motion carries. Next item, motion to approve sale of property, transportation. Have a motion. Motion, Ms. Jody, second. Second, Stephen. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, motion carries. Item J, need a motion to approve the 4-day summer work schedule for 12 month employees beginning 06/6/25 through 8/8/25 from 7:35 with 30-minute lunch. Have a motion? Motion Singletary, second. Ms. Keevan, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. That's item K. Need a motion to approve the following summer lunchroom work-off staff: Sheila Sermon, Sandy Davis, and Jessica Miller. Substitute W.R. Toller, Dolores Stark, Marilyn Smith, and Linda Newton, substitute possible. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion for Keeper, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Jody. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Moving on, item L, need a motion to create and advertise for 2 summer small group intervention positions to provide small group interventions to K-2 students. Position to be paid for top 5, 390-11, 1110 5B-5CR. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Keeper, second.
Second.
Ms. Jody, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried. That's item M. Need a motion to create and advertise for 2 summer ESE, ESY, extended school year teacher, and 2 summer ESE, ESY paraprofessional. Have a motion? Motion Jody, second. Second, Ms. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Next item N. Need a motion to advertise for driver ed instructor. Have a motion? Motion, Ms. Jody, second. Second, Ms. Singletary, any discussion?
So our gentleman that's done it for decades, 100 years, is he finally retiring, or is he already done?
Yeah, you have to, you have to open each year, because he's not a full-time employee.
Understood.
That's-
Yeah.
I do believe he's worthwhile.
He keeps his credentials up.
Yeah, yeah, we just got to know everything we need to do. We're good.
When it comes to experience, I'm assuming you don't have anybody more.
Well, Coach Kennedy, oh, yeah.
Do we have the vehicle? I mean, we good on the vehicle for sometimes it's an question.
We did that last year.
We converted. Or we do it.
Like, man, it's all free. One.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item O. Need a motion to approve the following school-based status of Havens, Stronger Connection Grant 390-2423A, 4CRO1. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion Singletary, second. Ms. Jody, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item D. Need a motion to approve the following summer Data entry staff, paid from general funds, Liddell Holland, Mary Waller, and Shannon Carson. All in favor? Motion? Motion is carried. Second, Stephen, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item Q, need a motion to approve the following summer tech staff paid from Title V grant, 390-11, 1105B-5C, R01, Stacy Bowden, Miranda Ellis, Trish Strickland. Have a motion? Motion. Motion, Mr. Stevens. Second, Mr. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item R, need a motion to create workforce development supplement. Have a motion? Motion. Motion, Mr. Stevens, second. Second, Ms. Jody, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item S, need a motion to approve updated supplement list. Have a motion? Motion. Motion, Ms. Jody, second. Second. Second, Ms. Singletary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item 10, roadside. Item 8, need a motion to approve travel expenses for one board member attendance to the 25 FSBA School Finance 2.0 conference held in Gainesville, Florida, April 24th to 25th. Motion. Judy, second. Second, Secretary, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Motion carried. Next item 11. Need a motion to approve second reading of Florida Local Policy Update Volume 25, 2, Motion. Motion. Motion is Judy, second. Second, Steve, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item B, need a motion to approve second reading of district revisions. Jay, yes, have a motion. Motion. Motion is Steve, second. Second. Second, Jody, any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next item 12, board member item, Mr. Keeler.
So first off, again, thank y'all. I know I called y'all, emailed y'all, bothered y'all many times. I appreciate, everybody in here, that I've had conversations with, can have conversations with. Thank y'all for answering my questions and being a help. I know y'all have a lot going on, and, I'll apologize for maybe interrupting you, maybe a little more than I should. But I do appreciate y'all. It doesn't go unnoticed all the hard work you do, bragging on y'all. I have the opportunity. Y'all deserve to be bragging on. A question from last meeting for Kevin. Have we heard anything back about the fencing, about chain link fencing for, the bleacher yet?
Trying to get somebody to do all, the welding, put the other bars. I had not talked to Gary, trying to weld, trying to get some fencing done, do solid knowledge and gate latches that Mr. Willis, Mr. Davis want. It's just.
So we're still pursuing it, but we're pursuing it. We just haven't heard back anything just yet.
Who's doing the ball field?
Right, all in order.
Oh, great. Or our ball field.
No, I mean, right, so we're still waiting on somebody to get the fencing, right?
Right.
We're waiting on Rosen. Okay.
Basically, got to finish it.
I got to finish the gate, big solid ball, and get some latches on the gates to the, or Mr. Robertson, painting that. Keep them open, but wind blowing shut, and then basically going to close for the football.
Okay, well, thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Thank you. So Kevin, we had a conversation pertaining to the hospital roof a little bit. Receiving some communication questions, and actually I was wondering about myself. Where, I know there was a meeting with the, forgive me if I mispronounced, the Historic Preservation Group Committee, right? I think that was a little while back. And it was basically to discuss how, I guess that committee is put together to help preserve the integrity of Osborne School and to, I guess, be intermediaries between the Historic Preservation Society themselves to determine the next movement on how we're going to take care of some of the roofing issues at Osborne School. Is that correct?
Yeah, so with the damage to those chimneys, obviously those chimneys hadn't been in operation, probably up to the fifties, might have been the last time there was a fire built. But I got there in the 70s, and you got there probably in the late 60s, so we're Kevin, but they wasn't working then, we had that old boiler thing. So our Hosford committee, which is, Jill Davis, Joseph Schuler, Kim Osford, Sunday McMillan, James Thorpe, myself, and I think, Jason, you come and sat in with us. So one of the things we want to make sure is that anything that we do moving forward to the old building, or the old gym, that we have somebody in there. Now, those two buildings, the gym and the old building, are on the historic register through the Department of State, okay? So moving forward, that will qualify you for some historical monies. It's very, very similar to the process of it is a legislative appropriation ultimately, but it just kind of falls under the Department of State. You have to, it's competitive, is all get out. You and I have sat in on those meetings. You'll believe just how many people come and say they've got a library, they've got an old building, and it doesn't have to be necessarily a public building. It could be an old church, the West End Church was not owned by the county, it was the Oxford family, the Methodist denomination or something like that. And so, one of the buying points for that was if the state would restore the old West End Church, then the Oxford family would deed it to Liberty County for $1 a year, and then the county would have use of it. So that, it's very competitive. But, with something that's already on the list, in that age, in that era, we were trying to see if we could get, without messing up our legislative appropriations, they have a whole separate thing, and it's a whole separate qualification time, is to try to get historical monies to fix it. We didn't get enough for the damage on the insurance.
Got 80,000.
About 80 grand. So we need a lot more than that. So in talk to the committee, do we want to, one thing is that you could take a change that, but
Would be allowed to do so?
we can do whatever we want to, but if you want to qualify for them to pay for anything and everything, then you kind of want their blessing. Again, it's our building, we can do it whatever we want to. That would solve the problem if you could change that. Now, that changes the aesthetic view of the old Oxford School.
Are they safe right now, or are those old chimneys safe at this point?
They need repair. They need repair. So one of the things we're talking about is you could fix them, which would be a lot of work. You got
Leaking, so it's leaking that's the issue. It's not necessarily structural,
both.
it's both.
It's both.
Okay, there's aging.
Yeah, but, you got some mortar issues in there, so you have a strong storm and wind like we did, that's what blew the last one. So what we're trying to do is whatever repairs we need to do, and good keeping with the committee and making sure, one thing we talked about was, could you put some kind of brick facade there? It would look like brick, but it wouldn't be, it'd be some kind of, I don't know what you call it, Kevin, some kind of. Yeah, like faux brick, something, I think, it's for FAUX. Some kind of facade, it looks like it, but it's not that, but it would still look like the old Oxford School, but it would be obviously a non-operational thing, so it's not gonna leak. There's 10 work that needs to be repaired, so you got 10 on the back that did get damaged, which is where the 80 grand came from to fix that, but if we're gonna fix the 10, because of matching, we try to fix it all at one time, so there's numerous things. I have reached out to this lady a couple times. She's set up a Teams meeting with me to talk about what they can do, what they will do, and then I can come back to y'all and let you know and say, they said they're not pay for nothing. So then we got some decisions to make.
So what time frame are we looking at?
I would think probably by May, we'll have, I'll definitely know.
So we have an idea if there's a possibility of money or just a no-go.
Yeah.
And then we'll have to decide, okay, is there money, what needs to be repaired, what do we want to do?
Yeah, what's the most immediate need here? You got leaking, obviously, leaking's a problem. I mean, with all this rain, especially in the spring, that's just a problem.
But so you have to, you would have to ask next year, so you come a year away.
Well, they're fixing to do another presentation, so, but you wouldn't get it for a year.
Is there anything that we can do? So are we hoping to maybe, well, I'll talk about that later, but So we're just trying to do it all at one time, all the roofs at one time, have 100% fund that whole project's the idea. And maybe we'll know if there's a possibility, but we won't necessarily know that it can happen right now, that it can be a year from now if that happens. And is it all right going a year from now, or do we need to do patchwork repairs in the meantime while we wait? Where we don't lose out on the dollars we have if we do get.
So they pay us that, we're not gonna lose any money, they pay us $80 on insurance claim, so we're sitting on that. My thing is, do I wish we had, let's just say it costs $300,000. $300,000 to fix it and fix everything, whatever fixing it looks like, I would love to have it, we just don't have it right now to put it towards that whole building. So what I'm trying to do is maximize and leverage the historical value for them to say, oh, we don't lose, we won't, you know, we want to help preserve that. And that's what they're there for. They're there to preserve, you know, if you remember, and Nathan, you were part of it, so the real issue with Oxford School, they didn't want to approve Oxford School, they put vinyl side on the side. Like that. They didn't like vinyl side on the side. You know, we had to, I mean, they and Ken both had to beg them, in a Zoom meeting, please understand, you know, I said, we'll rip it off, we'll do whatever. Finally, the guy says, I already gonna leave it on there. I mean, but we will have to, it'll be a competitive process.
Has there been an inspection of the chimneys to make sure they have enough integrity to stand another day or another year? Is that something that we might want to do at this time? To just verify or validate the structure integrity of those chimneys?
I don't know how anybody's gonna tell you that it's standard or not. First of all, it's gonna be very expensive to get up there. And,
No chance of it falling off on the other.
Well, that's kind of
always that
That's
change.
the question.
Yeah, always that change.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's new.
So, in other words, is there a contractor, like a local contractor, that we can say, hey, man, listen, can you do us a solid and get up on that roof securely, OSHA standards, and just look at the chimneys and say, or see if if you think they're gonna blow over the next windstorm, or do you, in your professional opinion, think they're gonna last another year or two, three, while we wait on this process?
Well, the insurance company took pictures of them and said, you know, and making the claim, that they took pictures and said, you got some issues there, but nothing, you know, nothing for them to say.
But they didn't go up there either. They took a pretty ground. It's not, I mean, it's not easy, you know. It's so high, so steep. But yes, I can do that. I can try to get a contractor to look at it.
I would think that there's probably a contractor in the county that's got.
But a contractor's not gonna do it from a structural engineer. And,
And just a professional opinion, if that's all we can ask.
a structural engineer is gonna, I mean, I can get up and look at it just like a contractor. I mean, I know what it's like, but, you know, get somebody to say it's okay, it's from a structural engineer. You want to go that far.
I just want to double check that they're safe. I mean, we've had some terrible windstorms. I mean, stuff that blows in that, I mean, so Sunday, if everybody was outside on Sunday, the wind was just kicking all day on Sunday. Why? You know, I worry that, some storm will blow through this just wind only and kids will be out there playing and maybe something happens. Just
I mean, you can visually see more missing from the debris. I mean, so, it's obvious that it's missing.
And maybe we could, so my thought and kind of bigger process, if we look at it, or we had somebody look at it, and we go to the historic society and go like, listen, we can't wait on y'all, we're gonna tear this thing down next week, or if you really want it, we need you to make a call now because it's unsafe and it's gonna fall. And maybe we have a leg to stand on.
That helps your argument.
Yeah,
That helps your argument.
That's kind of my thought. We have, I mean, if we might have to pay a little bit to get it done.
You could about say that now without that.
And then say, listen, we're not trying to press you, we're just trying to keep it safe. We need you to make a call now, and we need to do something now. Or say, hey, listen, if you can guarantee us or us sign a contract, we'll go ahead and start it, fix it. I don't know how the phone works, right? Maybe we can give them away, and they see the immediate need that this happens, or we take it down. Because the worst thing that can happen is when things fall, and the kids be out there. That's just kind of the thought behind it.
CRA and all open, see if they can find somebody. I mean, a structural engineer does softball field, you know. I can see what they say.
Yeah, I would appreciate it. I think it might be worth it. Obviously, there's dollars tied to everything, but, you know, maybe they can fit something for us. So last thing I'm gonna mention, so y'all have heard me say one time before, and by one time, I mean every time, I feel about grants and grant writing, and I'm just one of five that would absolutely love to see someone come in and assist with maybe Katie in finances, but also assist with grant writing, if we could get them. And kind of a thought, and I've actually been speaking to a lot of people about this in a lot of capacities. Justin Ford being one of them with Dewberry. He was telling me that they have a division, I believe it was Nashville area, that focuses on schools, school districts, and funding and grants and things of that nature for schools. We may have had in the past, I don't know if it's current, some type of professional service contract, engineering contract, something like that with Dewberry. I have found from the conversation that they actually have a grant writer within Dewberry that assists with writing grants to their clients, right? Those that they represent. But it's not only that, they actually have several other contracted individuals that specialize in FEMA, CDBG, got other grants, you name it. So they have several of which I actually know 3 that are pretty solid in what they do. We're talking about tens of millions, hundreds of millions of dollars in grants they've dealt with. So the idea, if we do have a contract, say with Dewberry, and we capitalize on that and ask them, hey, listen, can we you know, ask for your services? Can we ask you to start looking for X, Y, and Z grants? Maybe we want to focus on ADA compliance, or maybe we want to focus on drainage and infrastructure. That's their specialty. But they also come with people that can help us in other capacities. Maybe, you know, maybe they have an in with the historical preservation. I mean, it's really about who you know and having a connection a lot of times with people. Maybe they have that. So I say all that to say, if we don't have some type of agreement with Dewberry, if we could double check a little bit, if we don't, I would 100% be interested in putting on an agenda item and vote for having someone to represent the school where it's a contractual agreement that what they write, they will be an administrator for, right? And also the administrator within, we'd have an administrator within the district, maybe part-time until this could get rolling, where they could be funded by the administrative component of the grant. If there's design work on the engineer side, there'd be an understanding that the engineer would do the design work. And we could basically have a mutual agreement where somebody that's a third-party contractor is assisting in writing grants that we currently are not in the wheelhouse of writing, like infrastructure type grants.
Oh, Mason. Okay, and I hear what you're talking about, and I think the concept is very good, what you're talking about. But when you're pinpointing one particular engineering firm, there are other engineering firms available. Okay, all right, so we need to be very careful. If that's the kind of, you know, if the board concedes that we want to reach out to other, you know, to an entity to help us get grants, let's be very careful that we're not, you know, pointing at one particular vendor to do that. That may be a competitive process. I'm not real sure, but, and I would definitely want to talk it over with our attorneys, but I know for a fact that there are other engineering firms that offer grant writing capabilities. Okay, I know that for a fact.
Sure.
So let's just be very careful about just pointing in one direction. I just caution the board on that, okay? And I think through our attorneys, we definitely need to look into that. I see the concept. I hear that. I think it's a great idea because I think, you know, what people don't understand is there are a lot of grants. I don't know what percentage that our budget is run by grants. Let me just. Okay, so let me give you an example. Department of Health was 16% ran by state dollars. The remainder was federal dollars, grant dollars. Okay, so I don't know what our percentage is. However, We need to be cautious of that and realizing that he may actually cut some education grants. He's talking about giving education back to the states. Is it coming back here? So I mean, I would be cautious on, committing our district to a contract to do this when the climate is just, we don't know what the climate is right now. Politically, we really don't. I do agree with you, don't get me wrong, and I do agree that people don't understand it takes a lot to write these grants and to manage these grants. And we don't get, I've asked Kyle this many, many times, how much administrative costs do we get? Because the state got like a 5% every time. If we wrote a grant, we include 5% in it every time.
Right.
But we're not getting that, and we're not seeing a lot of that. So we do get.
Federal grant, we have a indirect cost rate, and it varies. I have to submit it every year.
Right.
So it could be like this last year was 5.6 something, or some grants capped at 5%. So we do pull that back in for our administrative costs of managing, guiding, and
And it's a lot to manage, just like a contract manager. I mean, you as a grant manager, it's a lot. So and basically, to me, that would be outsourcing, at just some point. I mean, we would still keep our grant writing internally. Is that what you foresee? But we have to make something that helps us.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
That's exactly, so in other words, the kind of the vision that I see, and again, 1 of 5 is that you don't, I would, if things get rolling, you don't want to create a bottleneck. I think Katie's awesome, but Katie's got a lot going on, right? I mean, it's kind of like anybody at work, you get emails, you're gonna go through your emails in order, and when you get to that one that's up there, or if it's marked urgent, maybe you flip to it. What I would want to see is that you're not bottlenecked in the information moving in and out of the school. It might slow down applications and grants and you miss deadlines, right? And Katie and other people have enough going on. So the idea is maybe a part-time hire that when we get this moving, the motion of these grants going, they're part-time, that they help the contracted individual by competitive bid. If Newberry's already in the contract, we're good. If they're not, then 100% we have to go out for a competitive bid for those type of services. We receive it all in, we score them and then say, okay, we'd like to see your company write grants for us. You understand your expenses are going to be paid by the admin fee associated with the grant or the design, the engineering for it. That we're not going to pay you per se for it. And maybe if there's enough, we have to talk about this. We split that admin cost to help fund the part-time salary. So the idea would be 100%. I appreciate you bringing that up, Mr. Jody, is if there's a competitive bid that's needed, I'm all for looking at that, going through that process. Let's get that process started and say, this is what we want you to do. This is what we want you to do. The concept is you're applying for it, you're looking for it, you're going to get your fee by this, we're not paying you, right? And just conceptually start that move. But still the interest of having, I don't see a need for a full-time, because they have nothing going. Maybe have a part-time just helps. Like, and that will be after you say, okay, we have this award, we have this company that has relationships with a lot of other companies, right, that write grants that specialize in different areas. We can use that main company and their connections and contracts they have to write grants. And then it funnel all the way up to the school, and when we get that process started, you have a person that's an employee, maybe part-time, that prevents a bottleneck of information and data and so forth going in and out of school. So it would be progressive. That'd be step one, would be getting that company, that third party, that contractor, hired per se by competitive bid.
How do we know, how do we know that there is a need for this service right now? Do we have a need for grant writing?
Obviously, I want to pick fruit from any tree that's got berries.
Absolutely. I mean, is there a need?
And so
Is there a lot of grants? Yeah, I mean.
So everything that kind of comes through is the DOE thing. We're not losing things because we're not applying. Through the DOE and the federal grant. it's not like, in the school system, it's not like the outside world where every time area is trying to do it. You'll get these grants, we approve them all the time, and it's, if you qualify, you know, if you put your application in, you're gonna get, and we do that, we get plenty of time to say, deadline's coming up April 1st, and we do those, and we fund a lot of things like that. I'll give you an example, one of the things y'all approved on was the data scientist thing. You know, one of my benefits over here was you had your guidance counselors who were working for $22 an hour, and that was not their regular hourly fee, nor the data entry for guidance at the schools. And so it's just for some, sorry, yes, just for summer. And so you had, you know, you had guys, so if I'm not working my full-time salary in summer, then I'm starting to work summer. That's the problem, I need them there in summer. So the question was, well, if I can get you a regular salary in summer, would you work? Okay, so guess what come down the pipe? Right about the same time, after those COVID money, that worked good. But then that run out, so then this data scientist thing come in, so then we were able to put COVID money back here, do something with it. And the data scientist money is what we've been paying for the last, man, he's not here, last 2 or 3 summers, last 2 summers, I know. More than that. It's probably more than that, maybe 3. I gotta start losing track of time, but anyway, so from what DOE offers from us and federal government, we're right on schedule. Now, anything else, look, I'm for that. So what me and Mason talked about this. I'm okay with having somebody who wants to do that, or, you know, a contingency type thing. I'm not in favor, and I would probably at this point not want to recommend bringing on another staff member just to do that, even on a part-time thing. If there is income, and I told Mason, I said, well, tell Justin or whoever come talk to me, Justin, Justin Ford. Tell him to come talk to me. I don't know, I'll be honest with you, I don't know what this looks like to a company like a Federal Ridge. Not that I'm, you know, Jay's correct, you're gonna have to do an RFQ, somebody's got to, that would be, but if they come explain to me what the division of their company looks like, who does grant writing or whatever, then I'd be welcome to hear that. I want to try to keep it, I'd rather sub that out to somebody that can help work on contingency, but I don't think it would, right now would be enough for us to have an in-house person do that, unless they were working with one of these companies as a mediator or a liaison. But again, I don't know enough about it to know, so I'm not gonna say, I'm never, I think that I won't say no, but I need to know more about it. So if Justin comes talk to me, I'd love to sit down with him, and if they want to come talk to us, I'm okay, I'll go back to work. I don't know enough about what you're talking about, you know, but I want to.
Just gotta know how it works, and are other school districts doing it, trying it, and I'm not saying we gotta follow everybody else, I'm just saying, I'm skittish of the timing right now.
Well, a perfect example, kind of, money that FDOE set for science stuff, covered like that. If you had asked that question, would they have sent us that? Would they have voluntarily said, here's some money?
Yes.
You asked for it and you got it.
Yeah.
That kind of makes me think there's a lot of other stuff out there if you ask for, but if you don't ask for.
So
I was told years ago, now, not in the last couple of years, several years ago, that there is a lot of low hanging fruit, a lot of money that people are wanting to give away, but nobody's asking for. When I say people, go. And I've always said, hire somebody and pay them a percentage of whatever they can bring to the school. That grant has to pay for that extra percentage for that person, all that money.
And they gotta know how to write it in like that.
Right,
I mean,
right. Or you get stuff, not having any money to pay. Right. Grant.
I'm okay with that.
But if there's a lot of fruit out there to be picked, I would. Sure.
And I think, I don't know everything that's out there, right? But I know that we live in a country with over 300 million people and tens of thousands of businesses, corporations. It's not just state and federal government, it's corporations.
Right.
Right, that's exactly right. So I mean, if you have somebody that's out there looking actively for you, I don't see a loss if in the RFQ or in the negotiated contract, If it's, hey, you get a percentage of what you bring in, if you don't bring in anything, there's no pay from the school. Right? I mean, it seems like a win-win, there's no cost on the school. Those companies are gonna be looking for things that have an admin fee to cover them and can benefit the school, because they're gonna make profits for that as well. And if they already have people in place to do that, they're in the realm of the network, knowing what they look for, that is completely, outside maybe the purview of the state and federal Department of Education. They might not be looking at the same sources that we are, they're looking at different sources, and have different connections and contacts to be able to access that. So, no, there's no cost in the district, right? We just have a contract we enter into with someone to provide those services, and they're paid when they get that work. So it's nothing that would come out of our pockets per se. And then the end game on that person that will be an employee, that would be, hey, you're really getting things going. Information's rolling, money's rolling, and then at that point, it's like, okay, if this is happening, we say, and we plan for that contract up front, where we say, if it gets to the point, I don't know how we can have the attorney work, if it gets to the point that we are required to have an in-house person to assist, they will also be paid by admin fees associated with the grants that are written. So it's kind of forward thinking to say, hopefully they're gonna get us a lot of dollars, and if they do, we're planning for when that day comes, that we're gonna have an admin fee cover our person we need in-house. If we so need, when we have that stipulation, we're gonna get that 1%, 1.5%, or whatever it may be. 1% of $1 million is still a lot of dollars. So, and anyway, I would love to entertain that thought if y'all would be willing. I see it being an absolute win for the district, finding the right company that has the right partnerships with the right companies, that could be a great benefit. So,
Well, how Justin and I talk, we'll tell you, how Justin can talk to the folks, sit down, see what nuts and bolts.
I'll do it, for sure. I'm done. I talked too much. Thank y'all. Love y'all. All right. I'm worked up, but everybody else is too.
Okay, all right, just kidding. Right there. Jeff, thank you so much for going down to Tola. We appreciate you. Hey, he takes my grandbaby out the truck in the morning. So he has to pick her up, down. Jeff, we appreciate you. I know that's challenging to jump in somebody's shoes and just run out there and take a job. We appreciate you. Everybody have a happy Easter. Spend some time with your family. I have had the pleasure of spending 5 days with family and friends right on the side of the mountain. And if you don't think you learned to love Jesus, real close. So anyway, just enjoy your Easter time and enjoy those babies. Okay, that's all I got.
Jeff, I want to hang on that end a little harder. We appreciate it. I know that's not a way. You say, I think. It's easy, no problem. We appreciate it.
Best time of day.
All the parents down there, we appreciate it as well. I could have told y'all about this, but since we're all together, I guess Boo's still listening. Y'all may have already been hit up on pro graduation donations, but if you haven't, would that be something? I know we do a lot of stuff together. Would y'all like to do like or whatever from the board?
I don't have a problem with that.
So one suggestion is if you break it up more, they'll have more winners. Like if you did $200, do it in.
So this is a cash prize?
Yeah, like $50 increments or $25 increments. That would
What
work.
do you think about that?
Can we do like a $50 gift to each person, give a $50 gift to,
Yes.
or a card?
Yeah.
Y'all do that?
Anything like that. I'm just saying, it amount could be the same, to break it up.
You done got it up? I know.
But we gave them a donation. Could we buy five?
They'll do whatever you tell them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care.
If you get $100, if you buy $100 with gift card, they'll do that.
All right, y'all, is it $50 a piece?
Whatever you want to give, $250.
All right, let's do $50. It's easier than $50. Let's just do $50 a piece. When is it due?
I have no idea. before graduation.
They used, yeah, as soon as
I
possible.
was asked about it a week ago. I think that was something that started early.
Do you want it? I just don't leave that full of. Well, do whatever.
Do whatever somebody asks you
Yeah,
to
I hate
do.
it. I hate when I'm going, well, hold on, where are you gonna decide we're gonna get $50?
Okay,
I'd rather, I don't know,
okay, we'll do this on our own.
Or you can do it, yeah.
I know we do the sports, but that's different.
It is.
We do the signs as for most of
Yeah.
it.
Will you put that on our list for next year that we were going to be doing our own? I asked
Some
Renee,
stuff we do on our own.
I asked Renee to start keeping kind of a little list.
It's confusing.
Yeah, no, that's why I was
So
saying.
I'm still individually going to get with them.
Okay. I hadn't been asked. Yeah.
You will. You know, you will. You're very- That's good. That's good.
That's right.
good.
Yeah.
Do you got anything?
No, I'm good, y'all stay safe. Appreciate everything all y'all do, all the people and all the board members, superintendent. And everybody, appreciate you too.
Thank you.
Take care. Yeah, you take care of
Yeah,
yourself.
take care of yourself, boo. We love you.
Right.
Okay, closing comments, okay, with the motion to adjourn.
Motion.